This week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast is brought to you by listeners like you. Head on over to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast and subscribe today. Fans, founders, and insiders like you help us keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going. And we thank you for your support. Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country. And after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Hey, welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast, episode 118. I am your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Welcome to what's going to be a great show, the first show starting the next year of our little podcast.
Didn't you even change the season number in the metadata today?
I did.
So we have done all of our pre-prep for the show to get ready for upload to our host, and she changed it from season 3 to season 4, starting today.
That's right. This is the first. So we had to have some great stuff on the show today.
And I think we do.
Definitely.
I mean, it's amazing what you can do when you actually accomplish a running goal you set out to do 2 weeks ago.
Now you're being hard on yourself. You're being very hard on yourself. But I thought you were going to say it's amazing what you can accomplish even though races keep getting canceled.
Well, there's that too. But no, I was actually much more proud of the fact that
I was... On a travel podcast for runners.
Well, this is true. But no, I was very proud of the fact that I was able to get some from time, not at work and not in the rain, and get my run in. So we'll be doing training updates in a little bit, talking about
for sure.
How I did with my little experiment with our 30K challenge that you finished, a month ago?
Shut up. Really? I know that's rude. I shouldn't say shut up, but you just hush now. I finished it last week.
Yeah.
Come on. So, so we don't have to talk about my training updates. We can talk about your training updates.
Well, I think we should talk about them both.
Okay.
We also have a look at not one but 2 food items this week, although
super exciting.
A new thing for us is Indian cuisine or Indian inspired cuisine.
Yeah, I don't think that have we ever covered it
on
the show?
I can't think of any.
I can't think of any that we've done in the past. I mean, we've done, like, one of our favorite Asian spots is in Tampa. It is Asian Kitchen, but we don't have any that I can remember. Like, here is this Indian spot that we have tried.
I don't think that they really go to that part of Asia at Asian Kitchen. So, yeah, but nonetheless, we have 2 awesome offerings that are Indian inspired.
Yes.
From
2 different places.
Places here in Southwest Florida that when you come down here to vacation and visit us, you must try. And then we're celebrating a holiday.
Well,
on the show.
I mean, it wasn't a work holiday.
No.
But it was a reason to celebrate, nonetheless, National Bourbon Day.
Yeah, that's right. As we're recording this on Monday evening, Sunday, the 14th, was National Bourbon Day. So we're going to talk about budget-friendly bourbons for people who are looking to maybe expand their palate or build their home bar.
Well, not just budget-friendly, but 2 different takes on bourbon.
Yes. And neither will break the bank.
That would really make some great cocktails.
That too.
And not seem budget.
Oh, let's be clear.
At all.
No, just because it's inexpensive, it's not cheap.
Right.
So
exactly.
Exactly.
There you go.
And then sprinkled in here, we also have some suggestions. There is another holiday coming up very soon.
Indeed, there is. This next Sunday would be Father's Day.
And we know that a lot of you out there are runners who run with parents.
Dad? Yeah.
Maybe you have a parent you're wanting to get into running we are going to give you guys some suggestions for Father's Day gifts for running dads.
Indeed.
So lots coming up in the show today. So let's get going.
So you, sir, finished a challenge.
I did.
You persevered. You endured through the Florida humidity, through the Florida heat, through waiting out thunderstorms, finding the perfect moments to finish your nano gauntlet.
I did.
Yes.
Number one, I love the medal. I think it's just gorgeous bling. We've bragged on this company plenty,
and
we're going to continue to do so because
over the last few weeks, especially
they're releasing more medals that we're like, oh, gotta get that one. Oh, gotta get that one.
That whole Avengers Assemble from Metal Chasers, and I think that Bill and Christine are just doing it right.
They are.
So
we've actually lucked out. Between Metal Chasers and the Virtual Pace Series, those are two fantastic companies that have been helping to keep us motivated and keep us moving.
So great.
We've got a lot to thank them for.
Oh, yeah.
With, the enjoyment we've gotten from earning these medals.
So how'd it go?
Well, when I set out to do this, I said I was going to do it as a science experiment, and I did. This total time to complete this now, I guess, is going on, would have been week 3, I suppose. And
so that's pretty evenly spaced. I mean, like a couple of 5Ks sprinkled into each week.
Right. So all in all, not too bad for a casual runner if you were just looking to run maybe 2 to 3 times a week. I'd have had it done I would have had it done in 1 week, but that didn't happen due to the weather and all of that. Or 2 weeks, same thing, because of work.
Yeah.
So I was able to get the final run done today, as a matter of fact.
You had to find the balance.
All weekend. You do. And it really is all about that. And it was interesting looking at the results. Part of this race, you get this really cool bib, and the bib has the gauntlet challenge and your number, and then it has all of the infinity stones, and then right above it's a box where you write your time in. And I've been writing my times in and writing my paces and
your ratios.
And my ratios that I was doing the run to walk ratio, but then I never really kind of analyzed it. And I'd said before that I wanted to find that point where I get the point of diminishing returns.
Indeed.
And last week I talked about how I was going to stay at that point for a little while and work through it. And it was funny. I actually got a message from a friend of ours and listener to the show, Chris Darling.
Oh.
And he reached out and he's like, "Hey, I'm listening to the show, and I was gonna message you, but then you kind of came to the conclusion about staying at that point and using that as your training point."
Oh.
And I said, "Yeah, I'm kind of treating this like I've hit a plateau in weightlifting and staying at this point for a little bit." And if you're just joining the show or you don't recall, in run number 4, I tried a 20-second run, 40-second walk ratio. So that's a 1-to-2 ratio.
Yeah.
And I had an initial time doing that of 41 minutes, 56 seconds, which was actually 24 seconds slower than a 15:45. And I said, aha, I found that point.
Oh.
So I decided, all right, I'm going to stay here at the 20-40 instead of gradually, changing that ratio through runs 5 and 6. So last week I did my run number 5. I got down to a 41 minute, 33 second 5K, or an average pace of 13 minutes, 20 seconds. So I actually improved my pace there by 9 seconds per mile.
Yeah.
And today I did the same 20-40. Conditions were terrible. It was
super hot, not rainy.
Well, for the last 2 days, we've had major soakers here.
Oh.
And the rain subsided. The sun came out, and that meant that the evaporation, the steam was happening. So it was like running in a steam room.
Yeah.
And I didn't get up very early. So I had, again, a lot of overhead sun. I think the temperature when I went outside, you said, was like 91, feels like 97, something like that.
Oh, not good.
No, not at all. But I persevered, did that one, and my final 5K was a 40-minute, 24-second 5K.
That's pretty awesome.
Or 13 minutes, 1 second per mile pace.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Not bad. So looking back on it, over the course of 6 5Ks run in 3 weeks, I started with a 5:55 ratio. That gave me an average of 14 minutes, 39 seconds. 6 runs later, over 3 weeks, I shaved off 1 minute and 38 seconds per mile.
That's fantastic.
Or took it down to 13 minutes, 1 second per mile. So,
but now you say you don't like the ratio.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of it because, it, especially in the heat and humidity and all that, it just feels like, hit by a truck by the end of it. But I do see the benefit, of course, of staying at that ratio where I'm now, I guess, pushing more of my cardio development and getting getting a little bit quicker there. So I'm going to continue to do this ratio for at least the next week, and we'll see. We'll go. So
you're going to report back.
I'll report back. I'll be reporting back. Well, I report back every week, but yeah.
I mean, on your progress with this particular ratio.
Yes. Because I believe that we have another virtual race to talk about at some point. In the, maybe later in the episode, if not next episode.
Well, I think it's coming up on next week's episode.
Yeah.
We have a couple of really cool virtual races coming.
So we're going to be doing those, and I think that they're just 5Ks, if I'm not mistaken.
You're correct.
So that's what I'm going to stick with and kind of see if I can get myself down to a sub 12 minute or sub 13 minute per mile pace. And I'd like to get below a 40-minute 5K.
That's what I would dream of for Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to get me started on Chicago, huh?
No, we don't have to talk about it. We don't.
Well, yeah, we do, because we've alluded to it. So quick update there as well.
Yeah.
We mentioned during last episode that we got some communication from the Chicago Marathon folks that was not really
all that communicative.
Correct. Yeah. It said a lot without saying anything, which is like, we're waiting to see and all that.
Because we want to go see Anna Runs on Coffee.
We do.
Up there and meet her and run the same race with Mike Rallman from the Be Our Guest podcast. And
absolutely.
Eat at the fantastic places that so many listeners have recommended in Chicago.
I'm getting recommendations from people at work all the time who've either from Chicago or been to Chicago, but
want to do it.
We do.
So much.
However, what we've been talking about it, and what we decided was lacking any better communication from the race authority, and looking at the current situations in terms of public health as well as public safety, we're going to go ahead and decide that 2020 Chicago Marathon is probably not going to be in the cards for us.
And I'm going to keep in communication with them and with the officials and see if I can't defer to 2021.
We haven't heard an official word on that yet.
Normally they don't let you do that. I got the lottery. I deferred from 2019 to this year, and they don't let you do it twice normally. But I'm going to keep in contact. I'm going to try to defer. We'll see what happens, but I just think with everything that's going on, it is the better choice for us to look ahead and say that the year of 2020 would be the preparation leading up to a marathon that we will do together, the Walt Disney World Marathon.
You guys should see the look she's giving me on that when she said together.
Well, I mean, you may run way ahead of me, Mr. 13 minutes a mile, and I'm not even like under 16.
That's 3 miles. It's not 26 miles.
I mean, I'm jealous of everybody that I see at 13 minutes a mile. I'm like, I just want that so much. I know I shouldn't be jealous. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Absolutely.
Yes, I know this, but
you want what you want.
Yeah. And so I want what I want. I want to improve my time. I wanted to run Chicago. Maybe it'll be in the cards for 2021. But our health, well-being, safety.
And ability to plan also. I mean, there's something to be said for booking hotels and flights and everything else. And that's something that we need to start would normally need to start doing around now, and then budgeting for that. So it's going to be fine. We already we've already registered for the Disney 2021. So we've got the race planned.
Sure.
And you've got the training plan in place.
Yep. With our coach and America's coach, Jeff Galloway.
So we are going to rock that one out.
So,
and if we hear some good news from the folks at the Chicago Marathon, we will let you guys know.
Yeah, for sure.
So training update for you.
Well, this week I was experiencing a little bit of what felt like bruising pain on the ball of my foot.
I get that every now and then.
And I think it's just me getting used to being on my feet at work all day on a regular basis in addition to training.
Right.
That I just need to kind of get used to that and slow down the speed work, the drills. That's the conversation that I had with Jeff over email this week.
Okay.
So he said, hey, your body is getting used to that again because working from home, you're not up on your feet all day on hard terrazzo floor.
Right.
Plus training. Your body has to get used to that. You have to give yourself a little. So he says, just walk this week. I did drills and I did some walking this past week, like a 3 mile. It was a 3 mile low mileage kind of long run type assignment from him because he alternates. And next week it's 7 miles.
Ooh.
So
7 miles on the long day?
On the long day.
Okay.
Yeah. So he said, hey, during the week, don't do the drills. Don't do any of the drills. Just walk the short ones.
And when you say drills, you're talking about those 1/8 of a mile segments that you run for speed.
Or 1/4 mile. And the cadence drills and the acceleration gliders that are supposed to help with your turnover. He said, no, if you're having that kind of pain and you need to adjust based on your current working conditions now that you're back at work, outside the home, then just take it easy on the short days and then get the distance in on the weekend. So that's my plan.
It's a good plan.
Yeah.
Good plan.
That is my update.
So we are going to be running some additional virtual races.
Yes.
Really, probably through the rest of the year. We're going to still be scouring the internet, looking for amazing bling virtual races that do something cool, unique. So this is going to be, at least for the time being, the place to come for you to come and look for awesome virtual races that are going to give you something that's going to help motivate you to keep getting out there and keeping moving.
Metal Chasers, like you said, provided us some great races. I'm looking forward to the RunDisney Virtual Summer Series, which is now, I think, sold out.
Oh, really?
So
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's sold out, I think, on the first day they opened it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about those in detail later on.
Sure.
But this year's series is based on classic rides.
Theme park attractions
from Disney. So that's the theme of the medals. If you Google it, you can see what those medals are going to look like.
They have them up on RunDisney's website as well.
And we've done the last 2 virtual series.
The Incredibles and 80 Years of Marvel.
Right. So we've been very pleased with the quality of the medal that we've gotten from them in the past. Cannot expect that we're going to suddenly be not pleased, but what we'll do is when it gets time for those episodes, we'll be talking about them in length on the show. We'll probably also be doing some stuff on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, maybe live videos and doing some unboxings
once
and
we
showing
get the medals
and all that. So, if you're not following us on those platforms, please do head over to
Runny Drink Podcast on Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
And then on Twitter, we're at Runny Drink Pod. But we do most of our lives on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, because we love the interaction that we get and the conversations that you all have. Even the side conversations that Wendell and Jen have on the last one we did on our anniversary. That was so fun. So we really love those. So we hope that you follow us and jump in anytime we have a live and you get to see the race bling. That race bling
is not available, but we do have some cool medals that are available, plus a bonus for the Runcation Nation.
We do. We've mentioned Virtual Pace Series in the past. We did the Top Run Challenge.
Oh, yes.
Not to be confused with Top Gun.
Oh,
but
my passion for the 80s.
Yes,
Sorry.
It's okay. I mean, between music and TV that's giving you nostalgic throwbacks.
Love it.
And old movies, but Virtual Pace Series does a number of really cool races. We're big fans of them as well.
We did the May the 4th Be With You 5K.
We did.
In May.
Yeah.
And the Top Run was in April.
Yeah, and we talked about those on the show, and we also talked about them in our Instagram and Facebook Live.
We did.
Virtual beer chats. So
yeah,
we've shown you guys the medals, or a lot of you guys who joined us, we showed you the medals, and they're just super high quality, a lot of fun. They are giving us and you a discount. And this is fantastic. They're not a sponsor of the show.
No, we just talked about the Top Run Challenge, and we talked about the May the 4th Be With You with the Mandalorian helmet and the little baby Yoda. And how that was so cool, and the medals were so solid. They shot us a message and said, hey, thanks for the shout out. Thanks for what you're doing to showcase all of our virtual races.
Right.
We here, for anybody that's listening to your show, your Runcation Nation, here is a discount code for 10% off any event. And that is Run, Eat, Drink 10. Run, Eat, Drink, and then the number 10, 10. And we'll have that in the show notes so that you can see it, and a link to their website, because they have some cool races of varying distances.
They really do. It's so nice to be able to find companies that are creating runs of all themes that help get you off the couch and out and moving and doing something healthy for yourself. And, again, some people like me, I love the bling. I love that external motivator. Yeah. So you can't recommend them enough. And we'll have, like I said, we'll have the links, but they're not a complicated website. It's virtualpaceseries.com. And when you go over to their runs, you can see all of the medals, and the pictures are great. They don't do the medals justice, though.
Really, when you get them in your hand, you can just feel how solid they are.
They really do a fantastic job with them, and I think that if you are
the theming too,
whatever theme you're looking for, you can probably find something. So go over this again. Not a sponsor. They are just giving it to us because they really liked the shout out, and we're passing this along to you guys because they want you all to check them out. Go on over, check them out.
And if you end up actually using the discount code and getting your medal, an unboxing video would be super cool.
Oh, I'd love to see what you guys are choosing to run, and see what the medals look like and hear what your thoughts are on them. That'd be really, really neat.
Yeah.
So check that out.
Look at that.
I know. We're looking at the medals right now.
There's something for everybody, I think. It doesn't matter. We are big in Star Wars. We love Marvel, but it's not just that. There's a whole lot on that site. So,
they've got runs specifically for ending human trafficking. They've got stuff for just remembering September 11th, childhood cancer awareness, Pi Day. Some of these medals have such unique elements to them. Some might have a spinner. Some might have a stained glass segment inside of it. Some might just have a lot of different theming or cutouts. Check them out. You cannot go wrong.
Yeah, they do. They have a Father's Day one that is really super cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, we know that Father's Day is this coming Sunday as we record the show, and just the one that they have for Father's Day, that whole badge situation, that I just love that. It's so awesome.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So go check them out. Do yourself a favor. Take advantage of that discount code. You will not be disappointed. We promise you. So speaking of things to get ahead of Father's Day.
Yes.
We teased it at the top of the show that we had some suggestions for Father's Day gifts for running dads. Mm-hmm. One of the first things that we're going to talk about in terms of gift suggestions for dad who might be running is a headlamp that we discovered. Well, I want to say we discovered it. I guess it was last year that we discovered it.
We've had it for a while.
Yeah.
We've had it for a while.
I ended up getting you one, and I liked it so much, I got it for myself.
Yeah, you were concerned about me getting out there early before work and running. And, you know, sometimes the streetlights, they work. Sometimes some are out. We have a couple out right now.
Yeah, we got to call and get that taken care of.
In the neighborhood. So this is the Black Diamond Spot headlamp, which I think is pretty affordable, $36.
Yeah, it's about $36 on Amazon. We will have affiliate links in the show notes. Check that out. It gives you guys all the savings and helps out the show if you like it.
Yeah.
The reason I like this headlamp, well, actually, there's several. Of course, the headband's adjustable. Mm-hmm. The light's not super heavy.
No, it really doesn't add a whole lot of weight.
And it doesn't use weird batteries.
Yeah.
It uses AAAs.
So nice and easy, and you don't have to go hunting for a certain number circular battery or
order them special online.
Yeah.
So super bright, adjustable. We accidentally, when we were doing one of our Star Wars races, we didn't, typical me, I don't read the instruction manuals all the time.
You just start to use it.
I start to use it.
Yeah.
And figured out in the course of doing it that there was a night vision mode for this thing that projects a red light so that you don't kill your night vision. And when we were out running in the dark, I was using that, testing that out. And it's bright, but it's fantastic.
When it's on your head, I feel like you can, like you said, the headband is adjustable, but also the angle at which you have the light is adjustable.
Yes.
So
you can aim it a little lower if you want to see what's on the ground ahead of you, or you can aim it a little higher so it's right at eye level.
Mm-hmm. So I like that about it. So that's one idea.
Yes.
And for safety, I think that is just spot on.
Well, these are also useful for dads when they're maybe around the house working on stuff or working on the car or doing plumbing.
Yeah.
I've done plumbing repairs before where I've had to, prop up flashlights.
Oh, yeah.
This takes that out of the equation.
Because you have to see something that's really tiny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this thing's useful beyond your run, but it is great for the run. And this would also be great for people who maybe do ultras or trail runs. Everything is O-ring sealed, so the light is waterproof.
Yeah.
So this thing is darn near bulletproof. And you're going to, you can beat the heck out of it, and it's not going to be a problem. It's going to keep working.
It's very durable.
Takes a licking, keeps on working. Don't want to say the other word that might be trademarked. So
whatever.
Yeah. So
you know what it is.
So check that out. But we have another illumination solution that we want to talk about.
Yeah, and we have featured them on the show before. We were lucky enough to, in years past, go to the Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend Expo at Disney. And we met these great people who have created the Night Runner 270 shoe lights. We actually did a video with them at the expo on Quick Bite number 25. So if you go to runeatdrink.net and you look for Quick Bite 25, you can always search by that or by Night Runner shoe lights or shoe lights. You would find them and you could see what they look like. But these are lights that you can kind of lace onto your shoes.
Yeah, they clip.
They're clips
onto the laces of your shoes.
Yes, and they're the Night Runner 270 shoe lights. The people who created these were featured on Shark Tank.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they sure were.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're pretty affordable. What is it?
$50. It's $50 for the pair. The kit gets you, of course, both lights as well as the charging cable. These do have a self-contained rechargeable battery. It charges off of any USB brick that you might have. It's got a little mini USB cable that plugs into them and charges them. On a full charge, I can speak from experience because I liked them so much in the demo. I bought a pair. They will give you at least, and I say this, at least 3 to 4 hours of runtime, because I've turned them on at the beginning of a Disney race.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the Disney race, they're still going, and we're usually out there about 3.5 hours.
I can remember specifically us using them, and actually you took one and I took one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had one on my left shoe, you had one the right. So because some of the parts of the courses out there, particularly like when we were doing the superheroes races out in Anaheim, I can remember using them.
Yep.
So that we could see when we would have maybe, I don't know, railroad tracks or train tracks that weren't really well illuminated because it was still dark when we started the race.
Right.
And it brought me peace of mind considering my history with being so clumsy at times. Let's just say, like we've talked about in the past, maybe even on last week's anniversary show.
Yes.
So I have used, and they're comfortable. They don't dig into the top of your foot.
No, you really don't know they're there.
Yeah. And they have different settings as well.
They do. The adjustable brightness, they have an adjustable angle as well, so you can have the beam, going further out or a little closer to where you're stepping. I like them for the fact that they do give you plenty of illumination for where you're immediately stepping.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that kind of, regardless of where you're looking, you are illuminating your feet, which is nice, or illuminating what's in front of your feet.
Right.
What's cool on these also is on the outside corner of these lights, they have a red light that's intended to aid in visibility for you. So it acts as kind of a red reflector for drivers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's visible from the side and kind of to the back of the light itself.
And they're durable too.
Oh,
I mean, you could be out there and it could be raining.
Yeah, I've been out there with them raining and it works just fine. I mean, they really did a nice job with ruggedizing these and making them nice and comfortable,
durable,
and very bright. I mean, they say it's 150 lumens. That just, to me, it means it's just really bright.
Right.
So works great. They are available on Amazon. We'll have the affiliate link for this one as well.
Yeah.
Check them out. It's just a different way of illuminating your run, and if you use it in combination with the headlamp, then, I mean, you really can not only illuminate whatever you're looking at, but also where you're going.
Yeah.
Nice way to tackle that if you want to make sure that drivers can see you or that you can see where you're going.
Nice options for staying safe out there.
Yeah, especially, again, I think this would really be great for somebody doing trail running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
for sure. And speaking of your feet.
Yes.
We've talked about the headlamp. We've talked about these shoe lights, but also I can't tell you, we've talked a number of times on the show about getting the right shoes.
Yes.
But the right socks are so important as well. They are. And these are socks that you wear in particular.
I just bought 3 pairs from our local run shop here in Cape Coral, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
And they are called Feetures, F-E-E-T, Feetures.
Yes. Feetures are, how could I say it?
They're like compression socks.
They're similar to a compression sock. They are custom made for left and right foot. Mm-hmm. They have different zones of compression.
Yeah.
In different areas on the sock. You have Feetures as well.
I have Feetures and I wear them on occasion. I'll wear Xperias as well, but that help me with blistering. But Feetures, I felt they really aided me when I was going through a bout of plantar fasciitis.
Oh, yeah.
Because of those zones of compression that you talk about, like on the the arch of my foot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, they offer a number of different colors and styles. The style that I prefer is the kind of the footy sock. It's not totally invisible, like it's not cut that low. It just comes above the top of the shoe.
So it's not going to irritate you.
Well, I like having just a little bit of padding or cushioning on the back of my Achilles tendon in case the shoe rubs it.
Yeah.
So that's why I go for that particular type. And Feetures has different types in terms of cushioning.
Yeah.
They have a minimum cushioning, a medium, and a max cushion. So you get the compression regardless.
Yeah.
And then you just get varying degrees of cushioning.
And what do you go for?
Well, again, it would kind of depend. When I purchased the 3, I actually bought one of each.
Oh.
Wanted to kind of do some comparison.
Okay.
Where I tend to gravitate towards right now, and especially I think as I get up into higher mileage, is going to be the max cushioning.
Nice.
So the max cushioning, black quarter sock, I guess is what you would call it.
Okay.
Is what I'm really super happy with. It's the one we're going to link to in the show notes. People will look at them and go, wow, those are, I even did it when I first looked at them, like $15 a pair.
Yeah, but it's
socks.
I mean, think about the longevity, how long a pair lasts you.
They last a long time, but also when you're talking about as runners, the amount of time that we spend out on the road in our athletic wear and gear, investing a little bit in the sock is going to make all the difference. And I have run in bad socks.
Yeah.
And these you mentioned the Xperias. These aren't quite as thick as the Xperias.
So they don't add a whole lot of bulk.
Correct. Yeah. So they are giving me plenty of cushioning. I love the compression aspect of it. And it just has reduced or helped to reduce or eliminate blistering for me. So between going back to Brooks a couple of months ago and now getting into these socks, they're fantastic. So if you've got that runner dad who you think might benefit from some awesome socks, check out the link in the show notes for those.
Yeah.
But there's more.
We have what? One more?
One more
suggestion.
Yeah.
And I have personally had experience with these. They are called the FitLife Nordic walking trekking poles. And I know that is a mouthful.
Rolls right off the tongue.
But I saw them at Donna and then used them at Gasparilla.
Correct.
This is the first year that we did those 2 races.
Yes, the first year we did the Treasure Chest Challenge.
Yeah. So, and I think... they have, imagine ski poles and they have a carrying case with them, and they are $25.
Yeah.
Really? And they just offer you a little bit of extra support when I was going through knee issues, when I was heavier.
Right.
Prior to the weight loss that we've gone through. And just the pain points that come with being a heavier runner.
That, or it could be that you're going to do some trail running.
Oh, true.
This would be great for trail running.
Well, you're talking about like if you're on trails or if you have a climb.
And you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, if you're doing more rugged runs or with a lot of incline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that they can really help add extra stability, extra support. And so I think you're right. They're not only for the type of runner that I was at the time that I used them, and I still have them, but I think that they can help support you as you're coming back from injury, or...
I used them coming back from injury. I borrowed yours.
If you're having rugged terrain, I think that they would be perfect, and they come in different colors. I have... red ones?
Yep. And they also have different tips for the different types of terrain you may be running on as well. So, these are great year-round, regardless of where you're at. Yeah. So they have tips that are perfect for asphalt. They have tips that are great for snow. They have tips that are great for rockier terrain. you basically just screw the tips on and off, and boom, there you go.
And they have nice handles with straps so that you don't have to worry about dropping them.
Right.
And they're adjustable in their height.
Yes.
So
they're telescoping, and then they lock into place. And again, for about $25, and you can certainly find Trek poles that are way more expensive.
Oh, I'm sure.
When you get into like carbon fiber and all that gets very expensive. These are very high quality. They're aluminum. They're not heavy. They've got every feature you could really want or need, and they're not going to break the bank. It's a great idea for that running dad. And again, this would make an awesome gift, or if you wanted to hold on to them for the Christmas season, you could always make this a stocking stuffer.
Yeah. So we have a few suggestions in case you're thinking, what do you get that father who is just starting out running, or who is a runner and may need some extra support, or some new socks, or just some extra added safety.
Exactly.
Out on the run.
So check out that stuff and let us know if you pick any of those items up. We'd love to hear your thoughts on them as well.
Or you could get them a virtual race,
You could.
like we talked about.
And we do have that discount code, so don't forget that.
Yeah.
So anyway, great ideas for gifts. All this talk of running, however, has made me hungry.
As always.
And boy, are we going to scratch that itch right now.
Our running segment was a little lengthy because we had the gifts, because we had so much to talk about as far as virtual races go and training updates. I think that our eating portion is also jam-packed with not one, but two local places that are just doing it right.
Absolutely.
So
one is mobile, one is stationary.
Yes, one is a food truck that we have encountered several different places.
And we, for whatever reason, we didn't get their food at the time.
Like we couldn't make it in time once we got home from work, or
we had already eaten when we got there.
Or the weather, or just for some reason or another. But this past week we were able to get, am I going to get it right?
Probably not.
Arekie. Or no?
Sure.
Yeah.
Arekie. Arekie.
Yes.
We're not really sure.
Yeah.
And we forgot to ask.
Well, it's
the Arekie Food Truck.
Yes. And I think they actually on their website have a guide to how to pronounce their name.
Well, you find that. I'm just going to tell you, I've never heard of a Latin Indian fusion food truck before, but it is something to behold. They have food that transcends both, combines them, mixes them up, and serves them. And they have some of the most beautiful and flavorful dishes that you're going to find in a food truck here in Southwest Florida.
Yes. So I think it's the first part of an arepa. And then the key from Frankie. So if you put that together.
Arekie.
Yes. So at any rate, it's awesome food.
We stumbled upon them while we were heading out to Fort Myers Brewing with a friend of ours who hadn't been out there. And we were like, you know what? Let's get some, because we've seen it. And he'd had it before. And
he says, yes.
You won't regret it. So we did.
Yeah.
And we did, even though there were some crazy concoctions. I mean, they've got an arepa. They've got tacos served on naan bread. They've got loaded French fries, empanadas.
Yes.
Samosas, and then
masala fritas.
But I've said the loaded fritas or loaded fries are covered with butter chicken. You have options for chicken tikka, butter chicken, egg and chorizo, or a vegan option.
Oh, yeah. Like you can have any one of those in their roll or their taco or their zesty bowls, and they're really priced very reasonably.
Oh, very much so.
You know, the bowls, you get a lot in the bowls, and on the side you get naan bread, and that's $12. But then like the tacos, 2 for $7.
That's not bad at all,
right? And I went ahead and we actually we ordered and split a zesty bowl, which is got basmati rice and buttered naan bread, and then you choose one of those 4 options like you talked about. And on the recommendation of our friend, we got the butter chicken.
And butter chicken, I was reading an article that said butter chicken is basically the Indian version of General Tso's chicken here in America. It's kind of like the that dish for every man that you know, it says this is, you know, representative of this type of cooking, but it may not, you know, be the most adventurous thing that you would get. But I'll tell you that this is one of the tastiest things.
Oh my gosh,
that I'd had that whole week, and
so delicious.
You know, it's shredded tandoori chicken in a creamy tomato-based sauce with a blend of spices. And when you kind of dig into butter chicken and you know what that, you know, really is, it's like the best way to describe it would be, I mean, this is shredded chicken with like a tomato sauce over it, and it's got this amazing spice to it that
warm spices,
very warm, but not hot,
not super spicy, but warming, like comfort.
Yeah, I mean, this has a spice mix called garam masala, which is, you know, cinnamon and mace and peppercorns, coriander, cumin, cardamom, you know, those kinds of flavors,
and so good,
but not really overpowering either. They did a great job at giving you just enough as a hint to kind of maybe introduce you without overwhelming you.
Yeah, it was so good. I mean, the rice and the chicken, you put a little bit on that buttered naan bread. Oh, so it's so good. I just want it again.
Yeah, I mean, the chicken was like the pulled chicken with that sauce.
So tender.
It was almost a stew.
Yeah, of just the sauce and the chicken.
And the chicken.
Yeah, and it was so filling. Splitting it, it was still incredibly filling and such a great value. You got so much food.
You really did.
And I honestly think it would travel well, too, the way they packaged it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could go out to the breweries now and you could get some takeout from the truck and some beer and just be super happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And that is the first dish that we want to talk about. But, you know, the breweries have reopened. They're now allowed to have seating. Most of them still are having a food truck around here in Southwest Florida at least one day a week.
Yeah, I think the more the merrier.
Oh, yeah.
As far as they're concerned.
The breweries are doing, you know, social distancing, and they are making sure that tables are spaced apart and all of that, but you have the trucks coming, and they're, you know, giving you great food options. You can go and have a beer with you and your party. You know, you're just at least 6 feet away from the next table.
Yeah.
And
it was perfect.
That was fantastic. But here in Florida, anyway, most of our restaurants are now open to 50% capacity,
which is great.
And we had the opportunity to head to one of our local favorites, of course, the one you've heard us mention in the past.
Yes.
Which is Nice Guys Pizza.
Oh, yes.
We did our best to support a number of restaurants throughout Southwest Florida during the lockdown phase when they were offering takeout only options. But we hadn't had a chance to really get back to our home away from home for a nice evening out to get something to eat.
Oh, yeah.
And we were able to do so.
Oh, last week we had a really great live video from Big Storm Brewing for our celebration of our anniversary, our podiversary.
Which, by the way, John at Big Storm and Greg and Jovan over at Nice Guys and
Roger at 8
8 Foot Brewing, they all conspired to surprise us. And if you caught our Facebook Live or Instagram Live video, you saw
Kevin too.
We had birthday cake and food, and they put out. We were just going to go get a beer and talk.
Yeah, and the Manja Food Truck too showed up with pepperoni bread. John and Nancy.
Oh yeah, they did.
Oh. And we had some local listeners actually stop by for the presentation of the cake, and it was just so great. And this week we had the opportunity to go back to Nice Guys and to actually eat at a table inside and have one of the great new additions to their menu.
Yeah, we weren't expecting new menu items, but
so good.
There they were.
And chicken pizza masala is the addition, or you can get the tofu pizza masala. We had the chicken.
We did. It was our day 7.
Yes. And so it's either chicken or tofu, tikka masala sauce, garlic, regular or vegan cheese, and cilantro. And, there's a picture of the pizza on the album artwork for this week's show. I'm telling you. It's got that rich red color, that sauce. And it's got all those spices that you mentioned before when we were talking about the food truck.
It does. Now, a lot of people say, well, what's the difference? You said you had butter chicken out there and chicken tikka masala. Well, the main difference is the intensity of the spice.
Yeah.
Butter chicken is much
Milder.
less intense. It is a very mild flavor. Chicken tikka masala is less creamy than butter chicken. It's usually drier. It doesn't have quite as much sauce going on, but the spice comes through on this, and the way they did it at Nice Guys,
it's warming.
This really emphasized the flavors of the warming spices like you were talking about.
Yeah, and the more you had of the pizza, the more it built.
Yes. Now, we ordered the spicy version.
Yeah, we did, and they'll do the less spicy, or you could kick it up a notch depending on where you are, how spicy you like your dishes, your pizza.
Right.
But this, their crust on any pizza
is fantastic.
It's so amazing. But the chicken was tender. The spices were just so warming and inviting. It was like such comfort food. And especially after the weather that we've been having with the horrible rainstorms, it was so delicious and so and it was amazing to be inside and have it.
It was, and it was also a very filling meal. We got the medium, which is usually 8 slices of pizza.
Yes.
We ate half of it in the restaurant, brought the other half home.
For later.
It reheated great.
Yeah.
The spice on that was perfect. By the end of piece number 3, your lips are tingling, your mouth's tingling. Went great with a crisp Pilsner or lager. It was just a fantastic bite, really from beginning to end, and you had tons of chicken on the pizza.
Yes. If you step away from that pizza hungry.
Oh, yeah, that's your fault.
Yeah.
Not theirs.
It was incredible, and I'm glad that that's going to be an addition to their menu. It was just special this week.
Yeah, and he did make mention of the fact, he said that, they have the chicken or the tofu version, and that the tofu version is completely vegan because in their sauce, they don't use... They replaced They don't use cream. Heavy cream, and they are using coconut cream instead. Yeah. And you don't miss it. Honestly. So that was just amazing.
Yeah, coconut cream, not milk. is what he was saying. And I just, so good. Those two, it's in the same family of food and presented in two completely different ways and just so satisfying.
It really was.
Yeah. So if you're anywhere in Southwest Florida and you see that food truck,
go get it.
go get it.
Do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
Go get it.
Or if you're in Cape Coral and you happen to be close to Nice Guys, that is a pizza you should try.
Oh, absolutely. It's certainly not a classic pizza combination you would think of, but it's one you shouldn't miss.
Oh, so good.
But before we head into the drink portion, we wanted to remind everybody and say thank you to everybody who has expressed interest and been signing up over on Patreon. As you all know, we recently launched our patron program, giving you guys the option and the ability to help directly support the show and keep the lights on and the bandwidth flowing. And we can't thank you enough.
Yes, we had several of you either virtually or in person showing up who have become patrons of the show. You have just sent us messages. Hey, we love what you're doing. We want to contribute because we want you to keep it going and we want you to grow this Runcation Nation and we want to be able to support you long term. So what can we do? So we launched the Patreon program. Now, our shows are always free and available, and just all of our regular podcast episodes will always be available to anyone and everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can and you are able to support the show, then we want to make it special for those of you that contribute. So we have different tiers from $2 to $10. There's a $2, a $5, and a $10 tier on patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. And each one has its own unique perks.
Yeah. For $2 a month, I mean, we will shout you out here on the show, make you Runcation Nation famous.
Yeah.
And, really, show you the love that you're showing us because, it doesn't sound like anything like, $2. What's $2? Listen, $2 is a big deal to us. And, think of it as buying Amy a cup of coffee because, look, we all know how she likes her coffee.
I'm obsessed. Yes.
A little bit.
Yes. And you could do that. Or if you're a Podbean user and you'd rather do it through Podbean, we also have, if you're in the Podbean player, there's a link at the top of the page that you can click on and say, become a patron.
Yeah, we set up both options for people. That way they're exactly the same.
They are.
You get all the same benefits regardless of the tier that you choose to jump in on, and you're not going to miss out on anything. So whether you're going over to Patreon or you're doing it right through Podbean, because a lot of people stay in the same ecosystem. They don't want to jump from website to website.
Right.
So I get that.
So whether you do the $2, $5, or $10 level, we just want to say to everybody who is already a patron, thank you so much for supporting the show and helping us keep it going. And if you would like to contribute and you love what you hear, then go to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast or patron.podbean.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. And really, thank you so much for your support.
So let's talk drinks.
Yeah.
It happened to be a very important holiday yesterday as we were recording, and that is National Bourbon Day.
I am excited. We haven't always been drinkers of bourbon, connoisseurs of bourbon, but I think our trips to Kentucky, both Lexington and Louisville, I'm probably butchering that.
Close enough.
People will be like, no, that is not how you say it. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Our trips to Kentucky have really inspired us to sip on some different kinds of bourbon and just kind of experience the nuances. And I think that really I got turned on to it even before our trips to Kentucky watching Mad Men.
Well, yeah, you did start appreciating old fashions around the
did.
time of watching Mad Men.
I did.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah.
a lot of people, they want to approach bourbon. They want to get into it. Maybe they're looking at it as, this is the grown-up drink that I should be drinking. And that's fine. I mean, I whatever gets you into it is fantastic. But
Sure.
it is also one of the few drinks or spirits that is protected by law, defined by law.
Yes.
And is the official American spirit.
Yes.
And there are rules. There are rules to bourbon.
America.
Let's talk about those. Bourbon must be made in the United States.
It doesn't necessarily have to be made in Kentucky.
No, but
although that is
most of it overwhelmingly is made in Kentucky.
Lots of great bourbon comes out of the state. Yeah.
Second is that it must be aged in a new charred oak barrel. Not an old barrel, not a reused barrel, but a new charred oak barrel. And when we were touring those distilleries, we were seeing most of them had a cooper.
Yeah.
Right there making the barrels. It was really, really cool. And then seeing them, they would char the barrels and, get the liquid ready to go inside so that it could actually work its magic. And so much happens in the barrel over time. That's what gives its color and those caramel and vanilla notes that you often get with bourbon.
Yeah, seeing that at Old Forester and Evan Williams and all the different places that we were lucky to tour when we were up there. So great.
The next rule is that the mash, and that's what they're actually the grain and the water that they're making has to be at least 51% corn. And then it's usually a mixture of other grains, rye, wheat, and those are the two we're probably going to talk most about tonight.
Yeah.
The fourth rule.
Yes.
Whiskey cannot enter the barrel at higher than 125 proof, and it cannot enter the bottle less than 80 proof.
It packs a punch.
It does, but so much of this is to protect the quality of the product. And they were telling us some of the horror stories of what they used to do back in the days of bootlegging. And things they would mix into a really bad rot gut mix that was made on a still out in the woods to give it the right color.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty happy those rules exist. And then the last rule
yes,
is that nothing can be added other than water, and only to lessen the proof when necessary.
So there are rules.
There are rules. And I've had people argue with me, like, well, what about Knob Creek? They've got a smoked maple. I'm like, read the bottle carefully.
Oh, I haven't really read that bottle, but I do enjoy that drink though.
Yeah. So, they actually label it differently than their standard bourbon.
You know what really is interesting if you see that documentary, Neat?
Great documentary.
Yeah.
It is historic. It is inspirational.
It's inspirational. It shows that creating bourbon can be a family business, especially related to one of the bourbons that we'll talk about tonight. But I know those horror stories are what I remember from that documentary about things mixed in to get certain colors like you were talking about.
Right.
And I'm so glad that those rules exist so that we have bourbon that is certified, legit, and we know what's in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we wanted to give you guys a couple of options. If you're looking at getting into bourbon for the first time, maybe you like bourbon and you're just thinking, well, what do Dana and Amy like? Or if you're looking to just kind of build out your bar a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're picking two that should be readily available to most people throughout the United States at any of their major wine and liquor stores or your mom and pops. I mean, these are pretty popular brands that we're going to talk about here.
Yeah, you can get them in lots of places.
Yes.
So the first one we're going to talk about is Buffalo Trace.
Yes.
And that's the one tour that I'm sad we didn't get to go to.
Not enough time on the trip.
Not enough time on the trip, I know. We just got to go back.
We do.
You know? So Buffalo Trace, I think we got into, and we drank a lot of that before we even expanded elsewhere.
Well, we did. We were looking for a good bourbon to have kind of as the house bourbon here at the Costin residence, and something that you could either drink straight on the rocks or in a cocktail, in a mixed drink. And we wanted something that would have enough flavor to kind of cut through mixers while not having so much harshness that it made sipping it unpleasant.
Right. Like you don't want it to burn and then you don't taste anything in the future after that first taste of it, except for that burning sensation.
Yeah. If it nukes your palate after the first sip, what's the point?
And I know that there's a way that they say that you should enjoy bourbon when you do it neat.
Oh, yeah.
But this, I love. It's made of corn, rye, and barley malt.
Yes. So you've got 51% corn, and then the rest is rye and barley. And the rye is the grain that usually gives you the punch of that burn, that intensity.
But what they say on the website is the taste is rich and complex with hints of vanilla, toffee, and candied fruit. The smooth finish lingers on the palate. And I do think it's smooth.
Yeah, this is, like I said, this is one that's got a little bit of burn, a little bit of intensity, but this is a good general purpose bourbon that I think, like I said, you could do it in a mixed drink like an old fashioned. You could do it neat or on the rocks and find yourself not blown out of your chair.
No.
By the intensity or the burn that often gets associated with some bourbons.
Yeah, I really like it, and I think it's, like you said, an inexpensive way to start experiencing bourbon, and I really do think you'll get those flavors they talk about, the vanilla, the toffee. I don't know if I get the candied fruit. I'm going to have to go back and taste some more and see.
Well, I definitely get the vanilla right off the bat. When they say toffee, I usually say caramel, potato.
Yeah.
But I think you get those hints just in the aroma when you first pour or even when you first open the bottle.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the primary flavors for me with that one. And then kind of at the end, you do get that burn, that little bit of sharpness from the rye in the mix.
I like it a lot, and I really, when we go back, want to tour that distillery.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's one, and then another one. I like this one, but the combination, how it's made is a little bit different.
It is. And we're moving on to the second one.
Yeah.
And the second one that we are going to tell you guys about is a bourbon that we discovered maybe 2 years ago. And it's called Larceny.
Yeah. And larcenybourbon.com, you can find out more about it. But it's got flavors in it that are like bread and toffee and butterscotch, but it's really, I think, of the two, the smoother between the two that we're talking about tonight, between Buffalo Trace and Larceny.
Oh, absolutely.
I think this is smoother, and there's a reason why.
There is. This Larceny falls into the category of what are called wheated bourbons, and they're called that because the secondary grain that they use in their mash is primarily, or believe in their case exclusively, wheat, as opposed to the barley and the rye. So you end up, those grains do different things in terms of the flavors that it imparts to the bourbon, and you end up getting a very different sensation and flavor on the palate. And the final product for Larceny is incredibly smooth, zero burn. Something
I think,
you could
not
probably you could probably liken it more to an Irish whiskey in terms of the lack of burn.
But I think that this is even smoother than, say, some Irish whiskeys we've had perhaps maybe on the race course at Fort Lauderdale last January.
Oh, I don't know. I think they're kind of on par.
Well, no, I think this is, I don't know. Well,
that's just, again, taste is subjective.
Yes. But I think
we're both right.
They're both excellent. Tullamore Dew is awesome. But if we're talking just bourbon because it's National Bourbon Day that we're celebrating.
Bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon.
Exactly. So I would love to just have a glass of Larceny neat and just sip on that and just watch the sunset on our back porch.
Yeah.
Would be awesome.
It would be.
So
it's a fantastic sipping bourbon. This would not be the one that I would recommend for mixed drinks. And that's because the flavor profile being as mild as it is, you're probably going to get very lost. You'll have the power, you'll have the alcohol, but again, it's like we learned from Paul, there's a reason for every component in a drink. I think that you could do something like, a Kentucky Mule.
And they have a recipe up on their website for that.
But, if you start getting really complex with really strong flavors, that wouldn't be my first choice. And honestly, I probably wouldn't even do a mule with this one myself.
Well, the flavor we have grown to like so much.
Yes.
That we want it by itself. We don't want the ginger beer to overpower like in some mules that we've had in the past.
Right.
So, but it's a nice sipping bourbon.
Very much so.
As is Buffalo Trace. And those are a couple that you could add to your bar cabinet. And
both of those can be gotten at your retailer for about $25 a bottle.
They are very inexpensive and just very flavorful.
So if you're looking to dive into the world of bourbon, if you want to have a belated celebration of National Bourbon Day, now's your chance. For those of you that are 21 or over and are able to do so, go out and check out those two recommendations that we have for you guys here on the Running Drink Podcast.
You could bring them home and enjoy responsibly.
Absolutely.
So,
guys, that about does it for us. We went a little bit long this week, but we appreciate you sticking with us. If you love what you're hearing and, you want to help us keep the lights on, become a patron and support the show. Patronage levels starting at $2, heading up to $10 each with their own special perks. Find out more at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast or on Podbean. If you're a Podbean user, patron.podbean.com/runeatdrinkpodcast, or just click on the Become a Patron button at the top of our podcast page.
And we thank everybody who has become a patron of the show. We thank you so much for your support. Next week, we get to talk about another cool virtual race.
Yes.
And some more to explore and indulge on the food and beverage scene.
I'm excited.
So that's going to do it for this episode of the Run Eat Drink Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on your long run, your commute to work, wherever you are, even around the house. We appreciate you tuning in, and we hope you have a fantastic week. For now, I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we will talk to you really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.